Hey, it's AT time! My name is Ron Friedman, and today on Animation Trainers, we're going to be starting a series that will appear here on the channel over the next few months, interspersed with videos on other subjects. This first series is going to discuss the 12 principles of animation, as originally outlined in the book Disney Animation: The Illusion of Life by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. And to make sure that you don't miss any of the other videos in this series, or any of the other videos that we post here on Animation Trainers, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and switch the notification bell to all. The 12 principles of animation were developed at the Disney Studios back in the day when Walt Disney was wanting to up the skills of the animation crew. The studio was doing the Silly Symphonies shorts, which allowed them to test things like the multiplane camera and more realistic movement, etc., all working towards the skills they would need to produce a feature-length animated film, which would eventually become Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Walt Disney asked his entire animation crew to analyze what they felt were the essential aspects and processes and theories about what made for the best possible animation, so that they could create a compendium of sorts. So all of the artists would submit ideas or concepts that they felt were an essential part of the animation process, and these concepts were sorted through and categorized until they had pared down the list as much as possible. And like trying to solve a number down to its prime, they would put concepts under categories until they narrowed them down to something that could not be put under another category. And when that list had been completed, they had narrowed down the concepts to these 12 essential principles. They are listed in the book as follows: squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead action and pose to pose, follow through and overlapping action, slow in and slow out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing or solid posing, and appeal. For the longest time, the descriptions in the book were one of the only sources for this information. Copies of the book were considered Bibles, the knowledge of which was necessary to be considered an animator. There was a period of time when the book was out of print and copies of it were selling in the recycler, which was one of the pre-internet ways of finding used items available for sale, or other avenues for as much as $300 or $400 a copy. Thank goodness for the internet, we now have that resource available to us in a much more accessible way. But reading through those descriptions doesn't always provide all the information that I think is important, especially when you consider the fact that animation is a visual medium. I'll be going through the 12 animation principles one by one in future videos and describe them in more detail, and my observations on them over the course of the last 30+ years having worked professionally in the industry. And so the first one I would like to discuss is squash and stretch. The essence of this principle and the various elements that would fall under this category is the concept of deformation, the idea that things that are alive change shape. And when you think about it, animation is entirely about the change of shapes over time, communicating motion. The example most often used is the ball bounce. When someone initially animates a ball in the computer, they're just moving the object through space. And while the timing of the bounce might be correct, the lack of deformation occurring makes the ball feel somewhat lifeless. However, by having the ball stretch to suggest velocity as it descends to the ground, squashing the ball upon impact with the ground, and then stretching the ball again as it makes its way back to the top of the bounce, we can see that those deformations add a significant sense of life to the animation overall. We can also see the squash and stretch principle occurring in a character doing a jump. The anticipation for the jump serves as a squash of sorts, the launch serves as a stretch, the change of body at the apex of the jump serves as another squash, the fall serves as another stretch, and finally the land serves as another squash. Even hand gripping a ball and releasing it with fingers spread wide could be considered a squash and stretch. Can you think of any other great examples of squash and stretch that I missed here? Then please let me know in the comments below. Even in facial expression, we can see an example of how squash and stretch can be used to direct the audience's attention in a specific direction. By having the character's face more open and broader on the side facing our intended direction, and making smaller or squashing the other side of the face, we encourage the audience to follow a specific path with their eye. But that also obviously has something to do with staging, which is one of the other 12 principles that we will be doing a video about in the near future. And to make sure that you don't miss that video or any of the other videos that we post here on Animation Trainers, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and switch that bell. And would you like to take classes with me and improve your animation skills working with me one-on-one? then please visit our website at animationtrainers.com and schedule a session with me. I would love to work with you. My name is Ron Friedman, and I hope that we will see you for our next video here at Animation Trainers. In the meantime, keep it moving.